So if you're
Yeah.
thinking about, oh, I need to land this job, like think about the landscape and the individual positions and like what they're going to value more
Mm.
than just the volume that you're putting out. I mean, uh,
Mhm.
one thing I just want to touch on is that this kind of min max aspect of interviewing, right? There
Mm.
is this idea that, hey, we want to perform really well in all of our interviews, and that's right. Like I want to do the best possible and put my best foot forward. But if we do in the 70th percentile, 80th percentile on every interview, right? We do well but not great. You're not going to land any jobs, right? There's 10
Mhm.
candidates. There's going to be a person better than you. Um, and the idea is that in a lot of these interviews, you want to actually either do really well or like not that well, because then that makes the process easier for the employer and it makes it easier for you. If you do absolutely optimally in 2 interviews or 3 interviews out of
Mhm.
100, rather than doing good in every single interview out of 100, you will have probably 2 to 3 more jobs than
Mhm.
the other person who does relatively well. And thinking about the companies and the specifics of them, thinking about the interview process and the specifics of them and how you prepare for those things, to me is something that is fundamentally flawed about how everyone approaches this process, right? Like
Mhm.
they're
I
going
agree.
in with this idea, I'm going to leak code the hell out of it. And it's fine if you do that, right? But you better be the best at leak coding and the
Mhm.
best at solving those types of technical problems. Otherwise, you're just putting yourself in this weird average consideration set that's probably not going to land you a job. So
Yeah.
I think your story and the way that you're hiring really highlights that, right? Is, oh,
Mhm.
we're
Yeah.
indexing really high on this. Like if someone came to you and had 3 projects in their portfolio all related to real estate and gave you one of those for that code review portion of the interview, like
It
unless they're a
almost
real
certainly get it.
asshole, yeah,
I
right.
I never even I never even actually one time this guy he was looking for an internship. He was in school and he was like, I love real estate. I've analyzed real estate data and then I used it to invest in a property with my brother. And I was like, what? Really?
Sick. Yeah.
To this day, the best cold email I've ever received. I was like, look at this mother. I was like, I kept trying to figure out how to hire him for like 3 years, like literally, well, two at least 2 years. I was like, okay, our intern, we did intern interviews and all that, and then COVID happened, and then the program was canceled. I was like, oh, okay, is it coming back? And like, hey, man, and he got a job, right? Because he's out of college, and then I was like, oh, I have this open position. Maybe you want to apply to it. And then he's like, actually, I feel like I want to do more of this, like the this investment side rather than XYZ, that like your team. I'm like, all right, fine, and focus more on the transactions than the operations stuff in real estate. Cool. So that was fine. I ended up losing him, but that was that if you meet someone, if someone sends you a cold email that good, then you'll spend like months trying to like help them. I mean, we corresponded with long messages like with advice and stuff too, which he seemed appreciative of. So yeah, I
I mean,
mean,
that's such a
it's like
powerful
amazing.
story,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Is that,
It's like the harpoon, you know?
yeah, well, you became an advocate of that person with them sending one email and having a couple conversations. I mean, so I think of it this way: like a lot of people reach out, they say, "Hey, Ken, do you have any open roles at your company?" And like, we have 5 people. We do not have open roles right now, but
Right.
we might be hiring an intern or something like that soon. But no
Mhm.
one's ever sent me like, "Hey, I did this project that's specifically relevant to your company," or I've done this project specifically relevant to like your YouTube data or analyzing your podcast or something.
Mhm.
You want to talk about something that would open my eyes and like, I'm like, oh, maybe if this person did a good job, like I'm always looking for help with videos and ideas and coding and those types of things. Like data
Mhm. Mhm.
collection, not fun even for me. Like if someone wants an opportunity, really not that hard to get one. Like a lot of people don't realize how much, I wouldn't say power, but if an employer or someone in a company really wants to hire someone, they can hire you. They can make a
Mhm.
role. They can do this, even in a large
Yep.
bureaucratic organization.
Yeah, yeah. We could, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
just like how you got in. You
Mhm.
talked to a bunch of executives
Mhm.
in your first data analyst role. They eventually made one for you. Like that
Mhm.
happened to me too. I was
Mhm.
interning before we went to Virginia. I love DraftKings. I was playing it all the time, doing daily fantasy. I reached out. There was an undergrad intern position, and it wasn't really related to what I wanted to do. It was just like some throwaway internship. And I applied. I was obviously like way overqualified because I'd graduated and I was attending a graduate program soon. But I talked with the recruiter and she said, like obviously you're passionate about this. You want to do something like marketing analytics wise. Let me talk. And they made a role for me. It was a graduate internship and I got paid like, it was like $5 more per hour than an
Yeah, yeah.
undergraduate internship. And I was like,
Hmm.
like it'll happen
Exactly.
if
Yeah.
you're meeting the needs.
Like, do you know how much thought is put into the year's experience bucket on a job description? I've never seen anyone think it through. They just put a random ass number. The dirty secret of the bucket is that the higher you put the number, the less applicants you'll get. And so it just is a way of reducing the volume of things you have to read. That's literally what it is. Really, what would be nice is that if we had some way to be like, only apply if you care about our company and industry and stuff. And like, if there was some way that we could scan like a resume and be like, this person cares. I don't know how do you do that, but I'm just talking out loud. That would be awesome, right? They'd be like, oh, this person's like a fit. The years experience thing, I'm like, I don't know. I remember where I am now, like, I think a job description was written after the fact at Revantage, and it listed something like 10 years or something on it. I think it said 10 years.
And you're
And I
like, I
looked at it,
don't
I was
even
like,
have
that's
that much.
funny. And I'm like, yeah, I don't have that. I still don't have that. I'm like, I have like 5.5 now, which is funny. Oh, I guess now I could actually apply for those entry level jobs. but but yeah, I mean, a lot of the bullets, I'll say like a lot of the job descriptions that you see out there, they're sort of arbitrarily written. And like each bullet point, they're not necessarily carefully considered. They have a lot of open positions. They're trying to like they copied probably some other company or person or like the job description that they put up at their last job or something like that. There's so many arbitrary reasons that the job description is the way it is. Um, but if you can skip that if you make a good case that you care a lot and you actually can solve their specific problems. It's a way to skip the line.